Welcome, everybody, to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and I'm telling you, if I can do it, so can you. So let's get started. Let's get started with a quote that's going to open up this podcast, and we're just going to go out really, really fast. And that quote comes from Zig Ziglar, who I've been just a huge fan of over the last years and who I've been listening to a lot. And he says that you cannot climb smooth mountains. Okay? You cannot climb smooth mountains, which leads me right to these two gentlemen that I'm interviewing today from Indianapolis. That is Kevin Griffin, Corey Brown. It is a pleasure to have you guys here in the podcast studio, in the TTP podcast studio. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
How y'all doing?
Thanks for having us, Brent.
This is incredible because, listen, I mean, this has not been an easy road, right? I mean, just not only just wholesaling, but life and everything. I mean, you guys have an incredible story to share on this podcast today, but it all builds up to the success that you guys are having right now. Closing, what, 5 deals already?
I think it's 6.
6 deals already. Closing a deal for, well, I'm not going to spoil the surprise here, but I mean, what was your guys' life like before discovering wholesaling?
Really just going to work every day and tired when you get off work and just, I don't know.
It's 9 to 5 working, frustrated because you know you can do more, but don't know what to do. So it was like just frustrating, really.
Sure.
Trying to find your way out.
And where are you guys from? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Chicago.
Okay.
So it was pretty rough. And then I moved to Indianapolis, 4th grade. Then that's when I met Kevin. We met in 4th grade.
Seriously?
Oh
my gosh.
And the teacher, Mr. Brown class, and we've been cool ever since.
Awesome.
We've been good ever since. So it was, we brought up in low income housing, trustee clothes. It was just rough coming up, but we always knew we was gonna be something. Even we was like,
how? What planted the seed that said, outside of the surroundings that you're seeing every single day and the environment that you're in, what is that? What made you guys believe? What lit that fire that you're like, you know what, I can do something else, and not only that, but I can be a real estate investor, I can be an entrepreneur. Like, how does that even happen? Did you have a mentor, a role model?
It started with me because I played varsity basketball, and I had a coach who always came and got me for practice, took me to games, and I never knew what he did. I'm like, he never at work. So, I'm just riding with him every day, and then he's talking to one of his employees. He was talking to one of his employees. I'm like, oh, he a business owner.
Yeah.
So he went to college. That was the first person I was actually around that had a nice house, went to college, helped own his own business. So he really opened my mind up to all the different stuff in the world. You feel me? So
incredible.
So he really changed my life, how I think, because I was just
What was the business he was in?
Waste, environmental waste. He do business all over.
So not real estate.
No, it's not real estate.
Got it.
Yeah, I was in high school 10 years ago, but he do business in China,
Yeah,
he real big business owner, so he really opened my mind up to all the, I can do something different than what I'm around.
Yeah.
Because he did it, and he came from the same place I came from.
So did you guys have businesses growing up? I mean, you guys have been friends since 4th grade? I mean, what?
We had no business.
No business.
Nothing. We just always knew we was going to do real estate. We always when we can save up. That's before we knew that, it don't take that much money to do anything. But we just man, we're going to save up, keep saving at these jobs. We're going to get a double. We're going to live on one side, and we're going to rent the other side out.
Yeah, sure.
That was the ideals we was having, but it was so hard to save up all the money because, we still paying bills. We taking care of ourselves, paying bills, all this stuff. So we found out about wholesaling. It was like, wow, y'all doing that?
Oh, yeah. How'd you find out about it?
So I was reading a book at a breakfast cafe. I was reading my real estate book. I was reading on rentals, and then some man came up over me. I'm like, you read real estate? I'm like, yeah. I want to buy a few rental properties.
Yeah.
She's like, you should start out with wholesaling. I'm like, what's that? He said, go Google it. I went home, got on Google, YouTube.
Yeah.
And
Come on, a stranger.
A stranger.
When you're reading a real estate book.
Yes. in the cafe.
It's amazing what happens when you talk to people. It starts with that. I mean, literally, it starts with that. And I think that, I mean, you guys are seeing, because you guys have been part of the TTP family since June. Is that right? Yeah. And I mean, the more that you talk, that gentleman that probably approached you has probably talked to hundreds or thousands of property owners. And when he sees something, all of a sudden your radar is out, and you see, oh my gosh, that's somebody that's like me. Because a lot of people aren't. I mean, people think it's really funny because we feel like, well, everybody's wholesaling. Everybody's wholesaling. 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress. That's millions of homes in our country, okay? And there's what? 20,000 wholesalers, maybe? I mean, maybe? I don't even know. I mean, there's just really not. I mean, because it's such a niche list. I mean, such a niche community, but we surround ourselves with each other, so we think, oh, there's so many people. There's really not. So I'm telling everybody out there, this is more for the audience, there's plenty of opportunity. There's plenty of opportunity. Until the day that there are no ugly houses in your town or city, then wholesaling will be dead then. If there are ugly houses, then we have a job. And the job is, the fact is, there are cash buyers that don't want to deal with the emotions of homeowners. And then there's property owners that don't want to do any, they don't know how to solve their problem. And the cash buyers don't want to solve their problem. That's where we come in. That's where we come in, right? We go into these houses. We have, I mean, you guys have done it 6 times now. You go into these houses, there's always some issue. There's always some reason why they're selling. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
I mean, when the first time, let's talk about this, because I think this is important. And I'll ask you, Corey, the first time you guys went on an appointment, how did you feel?
I just feeling like, man, I was supposed to be here. Like, I want to help this guy out.
So you had pre-qualified. Go ahead.
My first appointment, I felt like an imposter.
Sure.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was just...
And it feels weird, right?
Yeah, it feels
You have that
weird.
imposter syndrome where you're like, oh, yeah. Do you mind if I take some pictures or whatever? You're like trying to like kind of like piece it together, and you're trying to talk, and you're trying to like soften up the conversation so you don't feel as nervous, right?
And she asked me, so what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just going to fix it up and flip it.
Sure.
I know what to say.
Yeah.
It was scary. It was pretty scary, the first appointment. But
Now, when you went on your first appointments, did you pre-qualify these sellers before you went out there, or were you just excited and you just went out there because somebody said yes, and you know what I mean?
We just went out there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we went out there.
Yeah.
Like, before we got a few deals, we had to back out like 4 of them. Because we were in comping them right and stuff like that. We were just beginning, so we just, so we don't know.
Yeah, well,
that's how we were.
Well, the toughest part in the beginning is this a deal or no deal, right? And then from there, everybody listening and watching this, if you're listening to this, definitely check out this interview on Brent Daniels' YouTube channel. Definitely put a face to a voice for sure. But when we're starting, a lot of times we don't want to ask a lot of questions because, 1, we don't want them to tell us no, and 2, we think that it's going to cause a lot of friction in the conversation because we're not confident in the way that we're asking. You know, when we're asking about the condition or the timeline or the motivation or the price, we're kind of stuttering. We're kind of, did you do any remodeling? No. Oh, that sounds really nice. Like things just fly out of our mouth, right?
You feel like you're getting in their business or whatever.
Right.
Like, man, I don't know if they're going to take this too personal or not.
Yeah.
But you know you want to get personal with them and build rapport with them.
Be able to help them out. You have to get personal with them.
100%. It's like you go to the doctor, they make you fill out all sorts of stuff, and then you talk to the doctor, and they ask you all these questions, and then they go through, and it's all these things. You don't just go to the doctor and be like, I don't know, my neck, like, I just can't do this, and you know what I mean? You got to fill out all these things. It's the same thing. You want to find out what is going on with this property owner so you can see if you can actually be of value. You know what I mean? If you can, those are the people that you want to try to work with. And those are the people that you want to get in front of and shorten the timeline and understand, break down and help them understand the process and how you can help them solve their problem. Because 6 times now, guys.
6 times.
6 times now. And what is the timeline? When did you guys start?
We officially started, so I started a long time ago by
Right.
myself, and then I was doing I was driving for dollars, writing down addresses, like you were saying. I was hand dialing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started, like, when we started together in October, we got the Mojo.
Yeah.
We got the Mojo dialer, we got the deal machine.
Yep.
And it made everything so simple.
Yep.
We can just focus on working instead of having to do all this extra analytical stuff.
Yep.
Make lists and send it to batch skip traces. You got to find the owner. The deal machine do all that for you.
Yep.
So it make the process simple.
Yeah.
So we started in October until now.
And is that one of your best lists? Is your driving for dollars list?
Yes.
That's the best list.
That's the best.
It's the best list. Guys, listen to me. Just because of this podcast, Wholesaling Inc. is the biggest discount on Deal Machine. Use the coupon code TTP. You save $10 a month. It's not a fortune, but it makes it only $40 a month. And for that, I mean, it's one of the best values of all time.
It really is.
I mean, because now they give you all the data.
Yep.
You can literally just drive down the street, see an ugly house, and say, "Oh, this owner doesn't even live here." It may or may not be vacant. It's incredible. So, were you guys each driving? Were you guys driving on appointments, or was it like specific times?
So,
At first, we were both driving together.
Yeah.
Man, we just.
well, I was like teaching Corey the whole.
Yeah.
He came in brand new,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I listened to all your videos. That's how I learned, and you and Max Maxwell.
Yeah.
So when he came in, like, it was like what you call it, like intern type. Like,
Sure.
He just
Yeah,
watched
like
me
an
for a month.
apprentice.
Yeah, he watched me for a month, and we watching your videos. He watching me work.
Yeah.
So once we did a few deals, he hopped in.
Awesome.
That's when we really start taking off.
Mm-hmm. So what, you're seeing him out there doing real estate, and you're like, "Hey, what are you doing?
He
Are you
called
guys
me-
just hanging out?"
He called me one day like, "Bro, we need to meet up." I'm like, "What's up?" He like, "You need to do wholesaling." I'm like, "All right." So he's like,
All
"Come
right.
on." he like, "Come over to the house." And I'm like,
Tough.
"All right, I'm gonna be over there." I pull up, we talk about it. He showed me a lot of videos and stuff. We going through some things. He said, "You need to quit your job." I said, "Quit my job?" He said, "You need to quit your job."
Oh.
He said, "You need to quit right now." I said, "Hold on, man, I can't quit right now." I said, "Man, give me like 2 weeks, a month or
2
so."
months.
Yeah.
I said, "Give me 2 months." And
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm gonna put my 2 weeks in notice in." October 5th was my last day. I was a diesel mechanic, so
Yeah.
Making good money.
Yeah.
Making great money. But
Sure.
we knew we can do better. Like, I was a team lead at my job for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Climbed up the ladder making 20 an hour, but I knew, like, I can do more.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't my cap.
Mm-hmm.
We both felt like that.
Yeah. And this was the shot.
Yep.
This was the shot. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is the most life-changing business that I can imagine. Because one, you're dealing with the biggest asset that we deal with, right? Which is real estate. And I don't care. I mean, people wholesale everything. People wholesale commercial buildings. People wholesale skyscrapers. You know what I mean? People wholesale land. They wholesale, little terrible houses. They wholesale everything. I mean, there's so much opportunity when you learn how to source the deal.
Yep.
And that's the huge thing, because that's always going to be in demand, because people don't want to source it themselves. They want to stay in their lane. They want to fix up properties. They want to own properties and keep them in their rental. I mean, that's why we fit into this beautiful area where we're the hustlers in this industry.
Yep.
We really are. We're the ones that have to go and talk to people all the time. So then you guys started your partnership, and who was getting on the phones? Who's better on the phone? Let's say that.
I am.
Yeah?
on the phone.
Okay.
So that's why we got him texting right now, because I'm better on the phone, so I can talk to. I build rapport real good with people.
Yeah.
I get them talking, open them up,
Sure.
let them know my past.
Yeah.
Connect with them.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do, because there's 10 other people calling them.
Well, for sure. And the more genuine that you are, the better. And, I mean, if it's you calling somebody and somebody from overseas calling them from, like, the Philippines, you're going to beat them like a drum. I mean, you're going to get that deal. That's just a fact. You know what I mean? So I always encourage people, as they're starting out, building their momentum in their business, to make the calls themselves. You know what I mean? You got to keep more money. You're not worried about people showing up and doing the work. You're putting it in, plus you're building those skills. I mean, how many people have you talked to now and asked them if they would consider an offer on their property?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000.
Yeah, over 1,000.
Over 1,000. Yeah.
It's easy now.
It's easy, right? Was it scary in the beginning?
I did what you did. You know, I was hand dialing.
Mm-hmm.
Hang up the phone before they answer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not ready. I'm not
I
ready.
ain't ready yet.
I ain't ready. I'm gonna take a lap around the kitchen. I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna listen to something, and then 15 minutes they still haven't made a call. You're like, oh man.
Corey got a good story for you about his first call.
Yeah.
Man, the lady, I called her. I forget what the house was. I'm like, what did I say?
He asked. She said, "Not right now." And
Yeah.
You know the answer, not right now.
Yep.
And you say,
Yep.
Okay, well,
Maybe in the future.
maybe in the future.
And something about need some love. She said, "You want to make love?" I'm like,
So for everybody listening and watching this, the script goes, yeah, well, are you thinking in the next 30 days? What I'm really looking for is a property that needs some love that we can fix up and repair. And she took that as you want to make some love.
because it was my first time, and I
stumbled over his
I'm
words,
just.
and it sounded like I need some love.
So she's like, "You want to make love?" Like, I'm like, "No," then hung the phone up.
That is the best. That is the best. Hey, if you can deal with that, I mean, and bounce back, yeah. That's why he's on texting now. No. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. So, what is the name of your guys' business out there?
Prolific home buyers.
Love it. Love it. And for anybody listening to this, before we break down a deal, what is the best way to reach out to you guys if people are you just in Indianapolis?
Yeah, we just
Okay.
in Indianapolis. So they can reach out to us on Instagram. My Instagram is Kevin.prolific.
Okay.
Mine is Corey.prolific.
Awesome.
We're the Prolific Bros.
Prolific Bros. I love it. I love it. So let's break down a deal. Let's get people excited. What deal do you want to do? You want to talk about the one that you posted?
Yeah, I'll talk about
Okay.
it. So this deal, so I got the list and I seen the houses was in this 46208 area. So I ran a comp on one property and I know this area well, and I seen two houses sell for $290. I'm like, I better double check 290, 300. So I'm know like if I get a deal for 30,000, I can make some profit.
Yep.
So I'm calling the list and I leave a voicemail. The voicemail he told us to leave.
Yep.
Next day he called me, hey, this Kevin. We like to sell our property. I'm like, all right, I pre-qualified him, got the appointment the next day. So I called him the next day after the appointment, called him like, I like the house, I like coming at 35.
Yeah.
She said, okay, I got somebody else also, so I'm gonna call them. So she called me back, said they at 36. And I said, okay, I can do 37. She said, if you can send at 37.5, you have it. So I can send over at 37.5.
So real quick, what tool do you use to look up comps?
We got the MLS access.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
And we do have prop stream.
we have prop stream. also
Sure,
to pull
but I
in.
mean, it's if you have MLS access, I mean that's going to be the best, right? Because and when you pull comps, educate people real quick. What are you looking for? Are you looking for in the neighborhood? Are you looking within a certain area? What are you looking for?
a quarter mile radius.
Yep.
250, like plus 250 minus 250 square footage. Bedrooms, bathroom counts.
Yep.
We have the garage accounts.
Garage or basement.
Yep.
So you gotta take all this stuff in effect. when you
Sometimes
do
lot
counts.
size.
Yeah.
It just depends
Yeah,
if
lot
if you're
size.
dealing
And
with different
what year
areas.
the house was built sometimes.
Of
Yep.
course. Yep.
Because we got
Yep.
a lot of houses built in 1910, 1900s. Stuff.
Yeah. So okay. So you ran the comps, and there was properties for 290,000 in this neighborhood.
One level.
One level.
One level.
295.
The one level sold for $299. The two level sold for $295. And I got a two level with a vacant lot. So I'm like, we got a deal here.
And how much?
37.5.
Wait. That's not real. That doesn't happen, right? You can't just call somebody up and get a hold of them, and they call you back and sell their house at a discount. What was
voicemail?
I know. I know.
Most people don't like leaving voicemails.
Yeah.
But it really
Was it a
works.
Driving for Dollars list?
Yes.
Of
Driving
course.
for Dollars.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, I don't encourage leaving voicemails for your bigger lists. You're like absentee owners. I think it clogs up the system. People call you back. They don't really want to sell. They're kind of tire kickers. But with the properties that are on your Deal Machine app or your Driving for Dollars list, I like leaving voicemails for those because they have to make a decision. They have to either sell for cash or they need to repair that thing, right? And a lot of them don't have the money to be able to repair it. Right. So he called you and told you he wanted 30,000. Or is that what you offered?
I offered 35.
He wanted 30,000, or you offered him 30,000?
Yeah, he wanted 35,000, and he wanted 35,000.
So explain to me this. So you've got a neighborhood where you're running comps. They have 290 and 299, and you're like, I'll offer him 10% of that. I mean, is it a really rough neighborhood, and somebody's like just renovating it?
It's a really rough neighborhood, but it's one prime buyer in there that's customizing houses, so he knows
and selling them
the
for
process.
10 times the amount.
Yes.
This must be the greatest buyer flipper of all time.
He's pretty
He's
great.
good. He's good.
Yeah.
So wait a second. So you're going back and forth. Did they have somebody else call them? Were they talking to somebody from a mailer? Did they fill out something on the internet? Like how did you have competition on this deal if they're calling you back from a voicemail?
It was a few people that reached out to him.
Okay.
But I talked to the wife, and I built a rapport with the wife. So I think that's why she really chose me.
Sure.
And I actually talked to the tenant. And she said there was a lot of people coming in at the house, looking at the house. She's like, I hope you buy it. I hope you get it. So I think they was really rooting for me to get it.
Sure.
I think.
I mean, you had to be the highest price. I mean, that was part of it. But they said the beautiful thing is, and this is interesting, is a lot of sellers have this weird. Well, I think a lot of people have an interesting part of our brain that says, I don't want to negotiate too long and too hard. I'm going to go with the person that I like if they can beat the other person by 1,000, and this is the price, and if they give me that, I'll be good. As opposed to, hey, keep bidding up. Honestly. And I think that this is an important lesson in this interview because there is, if you go in there with your personality and you're building a relationship, it's not rapport. Get rid of that whole go build rapport. Build a relationship with a human being that lives in your community and really listen and really be interested and find out what's going on with them. You were doing it with the tenant. You were doing it. You probably do it with everybody. It's probably your natural, default mode. But I mean, this is such a huge thing, and I think that a lot of that, it's not necessarily the things that you're saying. It's your tone of voice. It's the way that you're listening. It's the way that you're looking at them. These things matter, right?
Yeah, make a big difference.
Yeah. So, you get it for locked up for how much?
$37,500.
So please tell me, you found that buyer that was doing those flips.
So, on the MLS, you can see who owned the property.
Yeah.
It's Matthew Labs Construction Company. It's a business.
Sure.
So we couldn't get in touch with him.
Yeah.
So we steady trying to get in touch with him.
We even called Cali like, you Matthew Labs Construction Company in Indianapolis.
And they said it has a Matthew Labs Construction Company in California. So I'm thinking it's a California buyer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Corey, let's Facebook it.
Yeah.
Facebook it. He came straight up. Corey inboxed him. I said, Corey, I'm about to write on this post a comment. He gonna see the comment before he see the DM.
Yeah.
So I wrote on this post. He wrote me right back. I said, I got a house I think you may be interested in. And he wrote me back like,
no,
stuff like that.
So you beat him.
I got it.
No, but it's honest. I mean, sometimes people don't even check their DMs, but the post, it goes right to them. I mean, it's like in your face, right? So I think that's another great. You guys are dropping some really gold nuggets. I'm serious. These are really good, interesting things that I think a lot of people aren't thinking about or not taking that extra step. So you reached out to him.
So he came to see the property. Next day, he was like, we want it.
Yeah.
He wanted it at 60.
Yeah.
So he was like, we close it at 60. Everybody else was coming in at 55. He knew what he can do with the neighborhood. Everybody else was like, it's a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can get in at 50. But he came in, we could do 60. Send him on the assignment.
And go ahead.
Because he had a house in a lot. So he's selling houses for $300,000 over there. So he won.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's going to do well on that thing. So what did you guys net on that deal?
$22,500.
Woo! Come on. Ring that thing. Oh, I know you're going to ring it harder.
Damn!
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah. How'd that feel?
That was life-changing, man.
Right.
Life-changing. I look at life different now.
Sure.
It's different. I can actually, I want to take care of my family, take care of the younger generation. We can do it with wholesaling.
Yep.
So it's life-changing.
It is. It is. And not only that, but it gives you the ability to have enough income to start buying those assets that you were talking about, that you guys were talking about back in elementary school. You know what I mean? But this gives you the capital to be able to do that. I mean, is that still the goal? It's really interesting. The more that I'm in wholesaling, I'm like, okay, having a big rental portfolio is a whole nother business.
Right.
It is. I mean, it is. Don't get it mistaken. There's no such thing as like that passive income. Okay, you're either managing those properties yourself or you're managing the manager, right? And there's ways to clean it up and make it as smooth as possible. But there's always something going on. You're always repairing. You're always doing stuff. You got to make sure that the tenants are happy. You got to make sure that you've got a good product that's out there for people to rent. But this is where you're going. You want to own the properties. You want to own these properties. So do you guys have a goal in mind? Do you guys have a vision for that? What do you think?
We say hopefully by like the middle of next year, we'll be able to start purchasing properties, rent them out, and stuff like that.
What's the goal? Have you guys talked about it, or is it just let's start with one and see how we build?
We haven't really talked about it yet because we really want to
focus
on that.
Focus.
Wholesaling.
Focus.
Wholesaling
Yeah.
part, the marketing.
Yep. Yeah. See, and that's what I really encourage is if you look at wholesaling, basically what wholesaling is, we find deals. That's it. That's what wholesaling is. Let's dress it up, put a tuxedo on it, and make it fancy. We source real estate opportunities, right? That's what we do. And with that, you guys have the option now. You guys will have the option to be able to, we want to keep that one. Well, we want to flip that one. Well, maybe we want to develop this piece of land. Yeah. Maybe we want to buy this property now and build up equity, sell it, and buy apartments. You know what I mean? Like there's so many opportunities if you learn how to source the deal, if you learn how to have those conversations with distressed property owners.
Yeah,
right?
Them skills don't go nowhere.
No.
They don't go nowhere.
Once you talk to 1,000 people, you can talk to anybody about real estate, right? I mean, that's what it is. So give me, each of you, and I'll give you some time to think about this, but go back to when you first started. What advice would you give somebody starting out? And what advice would you give them? What would you have them avoid starting out? Okay.
So I'm gonna answer both questions in this one.
Okay.
So when I started out, about 10 wholesaling books, listen to 400 podcasts, listen to 150 videos on YouTube.
Yep.
Just take action.
Yep.
You're gonna learn. I learned more taking action than all that other stuff.
100%.
So just take action. Like you're gonna learn through the process. You're going to learn everything you need through the process. Just take action. Like, it's cool to learn, watch your videos.
Yep.
But you got to go do it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen if you don't do it.
Right.
So that's my main thing. Like, take action as quick as possible.
Love
That's
it.
when you're going to start learning.
That's it.
Because I look back, like, I took the realtor class. I took I know a lot, but I could have been way further if I just took action.
Yeah. Well, people think that you need to understand all of the terminology and all of the things. There are people that have houses that are problems, and there's people that want to buy those houses. Get in the middle. That's it.
I got a quote.
Yeah.
Just keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Keep your business as simple as possible.
I love
That's
it. I love it.
It's the same thing he said. Take action, and when you do, make sure when you call your buyers and your sellers, not just their sellers.
Call
you
your
gotta
buyers.
Call your buyers.
Oh, 100%.
Build a buyers list.
Mm-hmm.
Build one. While you're calling these sellers, make sure you call buyers.
Yep.
If you don't, you've been in a world of trouble.
Sure. And
It's gonna teach you.
yeah. And having those conversations early on, you're going to build a reputation for having the best deals.
Yep.
And then people are going to start seeking you out as opposed to you trying to find all these cash buyers by posting to their Facebook and everything. They're going to find you. So I hope that people find you from this podcast and the YouTube and YouTube channel and everything there. So guys, you guys are incredible. I mean, you guys have closed 6 deals now. You guys are pending deals, two pending deals. You guys are building that momentum. You're staying consistent. You're still calling. Yeah. You're texting. You guys are keeping it lean. You guys are keeping the profits, which is most important, because the biggest problem I see is you start going and going and going, and then the expenses shoot through the roof, and then all of a sudden you're making less than you were when you were just doing it yourself. Way less. And you're like, what happened? So absolutely. Guys, if you guys are out there, if you're in Indianapolis, please reach out to these guys. They're absolutely incredible. They're the real deal. They're so inspirational and incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on here. Guys, everybody out there listening, a couple resources, Deal Machine, use the coupon code TTP, batch skip tracing for the most accurate phone numbers for the addresses that you're trying to get. And if you're interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing with these guys, it is the TTP family. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Scroll down, check out what it's all about. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call. I'd love to work with you personally. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brent.
Everybody out there listening, as always, I encourage you to talk to people. See ya. Love you.